Right. We are back with another episode of BILLINICO commentary. And today we're going to be talking about Marc Lamont Hill and some stuff that he brought up on the Joe Budden Podcast. He pretty much says that he thinks there should be no more billionaires. It's kind of like, feeding into that whole eat the rich narrative. You know, more of the liberal ideology kind of, that let's tax the really rich and let's get rid of the really rich and they need to give away their money and they shouldn't have money and they're evil or it's unnecessary. Just more of that dangerous rhetoric and dangerous ideology. And, let's call it what it is. It's Marxist. This isn't just about getting rid of billionaires. It's about the mentality of the people. And this mentality keeps the majority of people broke, keeps you bitter, and it keeps you blaming, pointing the finger at everything outside of yourself. Billionaires are simply the new, created villain for people to blame all the problems in the world on them. Only because these people actually contributed to the things that were not problems of the world. They actually created the solutions. Isn't that the ironic part? Steve Jobs created a technology that brought a solution. It allowed us to have mobile communication. And not only that, the device was so efficient and so good, it became a mobile computer. The design that he brought. He didn't create the technology per se, but he created the design for the modern version of it. Amazon and Jeff Bezos, right? He created Amazon. Now you can order things that are valuable to your home that you may need for your business, for anything, and you can get it delivered in rapid time. That's made more businesses efficient. That's made people's homes more efficient. It's made things easier. Uber allows us to travel, allows us to get vehicles and see how far they are with the technology that they have. It solved so many people's transportation issues. They provided jobs for people that needed to do a job, and they could do it on their own terms at their own time. Come on. This is something that people can think about and realize, wow, people that are billionaires, all they did was reach a really high level and they provided something that brought in that return on their investment, which is billions. If I have a product and I sell it for $1 and 1 billion people want it, that just means I have something that is great. And anyone can create these products. Technically, anyone can become a billionaire. We have access to the globe. So billionaires aren't going to go away. Billionaires will be the new millionaires because we have access to the globe. And obviously, money has gone up, inflation. So valuations are different today. So billionaires are essentially the new millionaires. Millionaires are the new 100,000aires, and the new 100,000aires are the new thousandaires, pretty much, and so on. I think it's important for me to make these videos so that people can get a different perspective and they can realize why these mindsets just are flawed fundamentally. Wishing billionaires didn't exist is code for leveling down, pretty much. Not building up. You have to build something on such a high level that it generates billions of dollars. Billionaires create ecosystems. These ecosystems consist of jobs that are provided for people. So you're a person or your company created jobs for people so they could feed themselves. That means what you created is actually needed so much that you're going to get paid for it. And not only are you going to get paid, but you're going to be able to pay other people. And this trickles down to the economy. Why would you want to cap somebody? So if you cap them, you're capping everything else that comes with that. Marc Lamont Hill. If you cap a billionaire, you're going to cap the ecosystem that they create. So what does that mean? You're going to cap the amount of jobs that they can give. And with that being said, isn't AI being introduced? So if AI is being introduced and companies are already starting to run lean, they're figuring out ways to utilize tech, artificial intelligence, and run leaner. So that means that they want to use less labor, less people. So if we were to implement your ideas, tax them more, there's gonna be less money for profits for them to give to the people that work for their company, and they're gonna figure out a way to sustain their business. They're not gonna roll over. You know, the things that he says don't make sense fiscally. They just don't. They don't work. And honestly, haven't we seen? Well, maybe we'll get into that later. But societies have attempted the things that Marc Lamont Hill are saying. Like, it's Marxism. It's Marxist theory. And he went to college, which were infiltrated by Marxists. And all he is doing is regurgitating Marxist points in a Marxist mind state and ideology. So when he says read, you're right. I agree with that. You should read, like his shirt says. But you need to read everything. You need to read non-biased books. Or if you're going to read something that's liberal, read something that's conservative. And then come to your conclusion. Because right now, conservative ideologies aren't necessarily pushed on college. College is. So a lot of people are getting fed information from one perspective, from the school system and from the media. So how are you going to learn anything else or any other perspective if the media has been run by people that have similar mindsets like Marc Lamont Hill? The classrooms are being taught by people with tattoos and have these mindsets like Marc Lamont Hill, right? And they swear they know everything. They swear that they're right and you're wrong. But all they're doing is preaching their own perspectives. But if we get into the facts in their ideologies, Marxist theory is anti-private ownership, anti-wealth concentration. So Marc Lamont Hill, capping a private company is anti-private ownership. Because if you're saying I don't believe that you should be able to, I don't believe you should be able to make as much money as you can. Well, you are infiltrating a private business. Like I said, if I have a product and I sell it for $1 and 1 billion people buy it, who are you to come in between my agreements with all my customers that have no problem getting what they got? We want less government, bro. We don't want more government. When Marxism is implemented, wealth is static. Or actually, we assume wealth is static in Marxism. But it's wrong, because when wealth is allowed to be free, it's created, it's multiplied, and it's expanded. But if you cap how much people can make, then rewards will be capped. What are the rewards? The products, the creativity, the services, the expansions. You're stopping. If you cap something where Apple is, you're just saying, oh, you can't build anymore. It doesn't make any sense. How do you think they were able to create the Apple Vision Pro? The company's been evaluated at billions or generated billions before the Apple Vision Pro even hit the market, but they needed They need to be able to create. The Apple Vision Pro was a great product, and it's going to be, and they still need to work on it and invest a lot more money. But if we start capping their money and telling them that we don't think there should be billionaires, then bro, you're gonna stop the growth of the country, of innovation, of creativity. You cap one thing, you're capping everything. Look at the Soviet Union. Look at Mao's China. Venezuela. Look at Venezuela right now. These things led to economies that were destroyed. It's not a conspiracy. This is history, Mark. A cap on wealth is a cap on vision, and you don't inspire greatness by punishing it, bro. Marc Lamont Hill's newly edition, and I think from a podcaster perspective, he's good. He's a good performer, and he's good at making himself look away to the audience very confidently, but he's completely wrong, or he's leaving out. He's taking things out of context, and he's leaving out key points of the things that he says. Ish on the podcast has been on here for quite a few years. And Ish is, he's leaning to more conservative views, masculine views, but he's cowered down at sometimes. But he has been that voice. Prior to that, there hasn't been a voice like Ish who's just, explain things from a conservative view and even a conservative business view. So the masses or the people that view the Joe Budden podcast, they don't like rich people. They don't like successful people. And what has Ish been saying? It's your mindset. You can go and get it, which is true. You have to have the right mindset. Read these books. Read all these books. The Millionaire Mindset. Or the Millionaire Mind, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Stuff like that. Think and Grow Rich. These books tap into your mentality and your mindset and how that stops you from either making more money or growing as a person. People did not like Ish because Ish goes against most of the victim mindset. Now that Marc Lamont Hill is here, he makes Ish look away. And Ish hasn't been performing because I genuinely think Ish is frustrating with Marc Lamont Hill's character to an extent. And he's a little confused about how to argue against him. But you can't argue with him with the emotional stuff. You got to stay in your square and just beat him down with this logic. Don't even try to get too intellectual. Don't try to use too many words or big words. Just beat him with common sense and make him look stupid because he's ignorant and dumb. Or he's playing ignorant and dumb because he's a professor, right? And there's another topic. There's so many topics I can cover with this guy because every podcast he is on, he says the wildest things. I don't know what's worse. Joe Budden, having Mr. Fauci on with the jab, or having Marc Lamont Hill push this information out every other day. Because, man, if you read the comments, these guys, they like Marc Lamont Hill. They like the stuff he says. And the stuff he says is so asinine. It's crazy. Ish, you got to hold it down. You got to gather yourself. You got to get out your feelings for this one, bro. You got to get out your feelings for this one. And what do you believe is right? Now, if you want to cap our society and let them control something, do you think that stops there? Because a billionaire is a human being that just made $1 billion. That's crazy. That's like saying, there's a basketball player in the court. You can't get over 30 points, man. You get 30 points every night. Everyone else is averaging 20. You can't do it no more. You got to pass the ball once you get 20. Huh? What? What kind of? Oh, it makes no sense, man. We don't need fewer billionaires. We need more. We need more. We need more people that think big, work smart, and build legacies. Just like BILLINICO. BILLINICO represents the billionaires. BILLINICO live with no fear. Our slogan, the billionaire victory of the people. You got to go get it. You got to think big. You can't allow people like this to trick you out of your position to think small. Because again, it's Marxist. If you look at history, look at the Soviet Union, China when they were practicing Marxism. Look at what happened to Venezuela. Venezuela's inflation is through the roof at the moment. Their economy is, that stuff down there, it's unaffordable. It's unaffordable, and their economy collapsed. I don't know what he's talking about.
So
This guy said Elon Musk is responsible for the world that we live in now. So the same Elon Musk that took his time to leave his billion dollar company, and he, because he has the mind of a billionaire, he's talented, he's smart, he has a work ethic, he has a go-getter attitude, he's not afraid. He took that and he brought it to the government to make the government more efficient. You can go on Doge.com right now and look at all the cuts that they made. I advise everyone to go to DOGE. Is it .gov or .com? I believe it's .gov. And you see all the cuts that they made. So this billionaire was able to make us save money, the taxpayer. And because he's a billionaire, he's able to do that, Marc Lamont Hill. The simple fact, because he is a billionaire, means he's able to help us. And he's also able to help us in more ways because he also created automated cars. And he's also creating robotics and technologies and rocket ships. This billionaire, because he was able to create wealth with no cap, was just able to save some people from a spaceship that were trapped. You know that, Marc Lamont Hill. Do you read? Do you read those articles, Marc Lamont Hill? Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up so everyone else can look this. SpaceX, right? This reading is fundamentally important. Okay. Surrey Williams and Butch Wilmore were in the ISIS for over 9 months. Williams and Wilmore returned as part of SpaceX's Crew 9 mission, which also included NASA astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. So they helped. Wow, that's dope. So he literally saved 2 astronauts that were stranded in space. Wow. Anyways, look at the computers. Microsoft. It's PCs. The phones. Look at AI. How AI is influencing things. The chips. How the chips are in everything. This dude wants to get rid of everything to make things equal, as he says. So our society has to stop evolving, because if one person or 2 people out of 10, they're so good and they break things and create things and they get paid the most out of the group, we just all have to sit here like we're cavemen. But one person's has an idea. Oh, light bulb goes off. That caveman figures out, hey, we need to craft this into a weapon and we need to hunt. And that person that does that decides that, hey, listen, I created these weapons. I'm going to hunt the most and I'm going to get the most meat. No, we're gonna take your meat. What? You're not taking my meat. It's so backwards. We live in this modern time. The poorest people in America live as good as the richest people did 100 years ago. Think about that. In this so inequality, life and society in America, where it's so unequal and uneven. These guys are insane. You're just off, bro. Joe was being funny. Joe was a smart dude, man. People really think this dude, Marc Lamont Hill, is so much smarter than all these guys. He is not. I don't think he's smarter than Joe Budden. I don't think he's smarter than Ish. I think he has more composure than Ish. I don't think he has more composure than Joe Budden. Joe's chill. Joe can. That's the ironic. People don't think that Joe can control himself. Dude can definitely control himself. Ish is very smart, very knowledgeable, but he's easy to be rattled. I think he has too much female influence. Talks about talking to a lot of girls and women. And I think, I know this is something that you said on the pod, but I think his relationship with his father has something to do with, there was just a final key that hasn't been unlocked in Ish. Dude is talented though, and very smart though. Joe, he was able to build himself up, and he's at a high level in celebrity world, so that builds up your mind in a different way. And he's pretty smart. Now, what he lacks in is, it is good to be educated formally to an extent, because you need to just know certain things, such as, the formal education system does prepare you to learn and understand the basics. And it can give you a foundation to an extent. Not like you can't learn math and reading and stuff outside of that on your own. But I don't think if you get a private formal education, right, that's better than the public formal education. So I'm not talking about private or public, because private is better. I'm just talking about he did learn, and he was able to learn at a very fast rate, and he's clearly successful. But I think the fact that he missed that formal education, whether private or public, because he might say one thing that's wrong, that someone might say, well, we learned that in 4th grade. And he's like, oh, but I don't know. I never had to use it, because technically he never had to use it in the real world. That gives them, the gall to think that they're smarter somehow. When we know what intellect is. Intellect is your ability how fast can you learn? How much can you retain? Can you comprehend it? Can you understand abstract ideas? Right? Can you put history into perspective? Can you take these things in and then come up with your own conclusion? And is it an accurate conclusion, right? Can you do math? Are you able to critically think? These are all things I believe Joe Budden could do. But he just didn't have to do it formally. The fact that he was able to do these things, and be successful without doing that formally says a lot about how intelligent he is. One thing you got to give him credit for. Now, Ish is someone that did a lot of things formally, and he's very smart. You can see he's naturally smart and gifted as well. But he also has the formal part, which is why I think business-wise, he might be better at business than Joe. But he never had that. I just think that celebrity exposure does a different thing to you. It's a different reach, of course, but it teaches you to be slightly more fearless. Ish, there are already billionaires that are involved and have been involved in the political system before Elon Musk ever stepped foot in politics. I repeat, when you hear this one, Ish, before Elon Musk ever entered politics, there's been billionaires involved in the political system, influencing things. The fact is, Elon Musk is doing it in front of us. So we know who he is. We know he's participating. We know what his mission is. We know what his goals are. Because you're not going to stop influence, especially from a billionaire, because they built themselves up to be strong. The key is, are they good or are they bad? That's the trick. You guys are tricked by the bad guys that the good guys are bad. It's not complicated. If they're billionaires, who do you think controls the media that says that the other billionaire is bad? Ish. I repeat, if the media, which is owned by a billionaire or billionaires, is saying that another billionaire is bad, what's the truth? That's why him buying X is so important, because it allows a more even playing field. Because you could be silenced on X prior, or Twitter, depending on what you were saying. Now you can have Don Lemon on there, and you can have a Rush Limbaugh, right? You can have both extremes sharing their thoughts, and this was allowed by a billionaire. So to say Elon Musk is polluting it when he's trying to help cleaning up with his billions, because guess what? Even if they try to say publicly, hey, we're capping billionaires, there's no more. What do you think the secret bad guys are gonna do in secret? You think they're gonna stop making money and doing little things to get their power, get more of their what they want? Come on, bro. You gotta think. Especially with the internet and technology, how all the information out there to do anything you want. It just takes for you to do it. Make the connections, make the product, go do the time that you need to do to get in position to do what you need to do to make whatever product or service. What is he talking about?
For a capitalist society to work, for me to create jobs, somebody has to work for me. For me to have large amounts of money, there has to be large amounts of people who don't have it. And the more people who have...
Bruh. Yes, you need people to work for you, because guess what? People need jobs to work. In order for you to create... I couldn't create my businesses without having my jobs, bruh. Where did I get the money from to reinvest into myself and my businesses and my assets? What is he talking about? He thinks he's deep. And guess what? Everyone don't have the wherewithal to actually create at a certain level. So they're going to just need a job at some point for long periods of time, maybe their whole lives. But wouldn't you need the jobs there? You don't have to work the job. Me creating a job doesn't take from you from creating a job. What? It doesn't make any sense.
Have it, or the larger the amount that the have-gots have, the more of the gap is going to be between the have-gots and the have-nots.
Bruh. Oh my God. Bruh. You create the gap. You create the gap, man. We create the gaps. If you want to consume all day, then yeah, there's going to be a large gap because you're not producing nothing. And if you're not producing anything, then well, yeah, you're not going to be able to break that gap. You're consuming. But if you're producing and you're creating assets, your assets over time, depending on what you do, are going to be able to close that gap. Right? Because the more money they make, the more money goes back out into the economy. And depending on what you create, you're going to get that value. And then that's why society we have millions and billions of people that can step their game up and get larger shares. Because you don't need a billionaire in this world to live lavish. You need a couple million and you'll be living good. And you can keep reinvesting and you can keep growing your money. So what is he talking about? We live in a great world where the billionaires are making jobs, creating products, creating designs that we choose what we want to participate in, by the way, because these billionaires aren't just sucking money out of the air. Resources are going to it because we're using it. Like, bruh, if you cap if you eliminate billionaires and say we can't have any more billionaires, you are the one eliminating opportunity. You are the one eliminating opportunities Because if we can't create as much as possible, then that means that we can't create as many jobs as possible, which means that more people are not going to be getting paid. And if they have ideas, they're not going to be able to fund and buy something else that's someone else's idea, and they can't even fund their own idea. People are always going to have more and less depending on what they do and what they create. That's the way of the world. It's like playing on a basketball court. Someone's going to have more points than the other person. It's okay. Do you want to be on the winning team, though? Do you want to be on the winning team? I don't care if I got to get 5 points on a winning team, as long as I get that ring at the end of the day. That's why America's so great. We want safety. We want safe borders. We want low taxation. We want minimal government interference in our regular daily activities. We want a free-flowing economy. We want independence and freedom to practice our religions. And we want to own our assets, our properties, our businesses. Simple. If someone creates something and they make 10 billion, hey, if I'm making 100,000 a year and the economy's good, prices of the things that I need are good, I'm living my life. Now, if I want to make 1 million because of the way the world is, I can make 1 million relatively easy because of the way the economy is now. And then I can live even better. And then these jobs that you're talking about that are needed, right? Those are going to go to people that are either starting, their wealth journey. Maybe they made a mishap. Maybe it's children that are coming up. There's not going to be everybody just working. You're not working certain jobs that you were at a certain point, Marc Lamont Hill. You make millions of dollars, or you've made millions of dollars. Now, how you manage that was up to you. But that's just at your level, bro. Like, are you going to give your money back? What are you talking about, bro? What do you mean? And he got this look on his face like you don't know what you're talking about, man. And it's okay, but you're gassed up by this academia world and this academia title, and your what is it? Your tenor at whatchamacallit, that's not, you can't be removed because you have that whatever. But come on, man. Let's get out of here with this jive turkey stuff.
Yeah, but that don't.
I just don't hear the evil in what you're saying.
It's not evil.
It's not evil, and
nothing he said, nothing, bro. He's evil. One, he likes to torture y'all. He likes to embarrass y'all in front of the public. He's getting off on it. He's evil. He likes the man. That's not a secret with Marc Lamont. The one he know. I know the type of comments he's getting because he's talking to these liberal women. He probably be careful. He might be coaching them. Whatever. He up there witnessing stuff. You never know what he might put on some paperwork about this Melissa Ford thing. It just is what it is, man. Allegedly, and all this is alleged. This is commentary. But man,
it's unrealistic because in society, everybody don't work the same. Everybody priority is not the same. Some people.
I just said that. Like you can't just eliminate the person that won more, score more points on the game board, and say nah, everyone needs to be 10 points, bruh. Like this dude's like a participation trophy mother lover. Like he probably says everyone should get a participation trophy. Like what? No, what you actually do and actually contribute is what you get rewarded with. It just is what it is. And if it's excess, if my son is in a class and doing like a spelling bee and he scores the most points, like they're not gonna give him he should know, hey, I'm the best speller. And the person that loses should know, dang, I'm not the best speller. We can't just change things to fit a narrative or to force things to be unnatural. Things have to play out naturally. It just is what it is. The billionaires made their money because they made certain decisions. And the people up under them, even if you're a millionaire, you learned how to make your million most likely by watching how other people did it before you. That's how we get better as a society, Mark. By allowing freedom, by allowing creativity. But there's penalties and fouls in basketball. So you bring it up, there's no interest rates in basketball. There's different variables within the game of basketball, if you want to talk about technicalities like that. There's fouls. There's free throws. There are, suspensions sometimes, depending on what you do, if you do a flagrant foul. So those are the rules of that world. 3 seconds, out of bounds.
There's no investment in basketball.
That's not true.
There is an investment in basketball. Your time. You're investing in your body. You're investing in your skill sets. God, you gotta say things that make sense, bro. You can't go through your life saying things that don't make sense. At a certain point, you gotta learn the facts of life. Don't say dumb stuff like that again, Parks. Allegedly.
You are investing your time, your energy, and your resource into getting.
No one's misunderstanding what you're saying, bro. That's not complicated what you're saying. You're saying there's no actual literal, it's an analogy, bro. But the moral of the story is, don't listen to people like Marc Lamont Hill, bro. Don't do it. It's Marxist. A cap on wealth is a cap on vision. You don't inspire greatness by punishing it, right? You want to be a billionaire and give back? You can chase wealth and live with integrity. Real success gives back. You know how? They give back through jobs, resources, and inspiration. Yeah, there's bad guys and everything. There's bad doctors, there's bad cops, there's good cops, there's bad rappers, there's good rappers, there's bad basketball players, there's good basketball players. Right? There's bad poor people, there's good poor people. Marc Lamont Hill. There's bad billionaires, there's good billionaires. Marc Lamont Hill. Eat the rich is this translation to stay poor together. That's not unity. That's mediocrity. I want to end it with this statement. We don't need fewer billionaires. We need more people that think big, work smart, and build legacy. BILLINICO stands for that. And if you're with that mindset, then live with no fear. And with that being said, we are out.